My next guest is from Magma with the Mosaiq Multicultural Festival coming up later this month. We're going to talk about the awesome cultures that are here in our region. It is Justin Ryan from Magma, the Public Education Officer for Magma. So first off, before we get to that, what exactly is the Public Education Officer?
Well, my role is to realize that when people are being integrated into the community as they arrive from around the world, while they need services and support, it's an integrated process, which means that we also have to recognize that the clients need to be the community. So I do cross-cultural training for organizations to help them become more cross-culturally competent. I work with media and public relations directly, and we do event management. So we put on and work with the organizations that put on things like Black History Month and Asian Heritage Month and Multiculturalism Day and Refugee Day, and the various aspects that celebrate culture throughout the year. And one of them, of course, is the Mosaiq Multicultural Festival, our sort of flagship event.
Before we move to that, I will also say thank you, because you were, Magma in particular was a very big helpful when we had Multiculturalism Day. We had 3 separate different immigrants to Canada on the show, and we were very, very gracious to have your guys' support with that. To get all that coordinated. So we will say thank you for that. So a very long friend of the show, Magma, and not only that, but the Mosaiq Multicultural Festival, which is coming up later this month. So let's entertain and educate the peoples. What is coming up on the big 2-day event?
Starting at 11 on the Friday, it goes all the way through until 10 p.m. and maybe some more depending on how 11 p.m. actually, and maybe some more depending on how many encores get called on. But
the party will go as long as it goes.
How long as the party goes. I'm bringing multicultural musicians from around the world. They have a very fluid approach to
the World
time
Cup
and
is over, but let's keep the energy.
So a lot of the downtown crowd will be coming to feast on all the foods from Lebanon and Vietnam and Hawaii, and from all around the world. They're at the food trucks, and there's a big packed lunch festival, and we have Flavia Nascimento who's got Brazilian roots, who's going to be playing over that. And then through the afternoon, it turns into this big kids fest. We have a staggering amount of children who come from the daycares and the camps, and the families bring them down, and some of them are crafting activities under the youth pavilion. Other ones are playing outside in the Youth Olympics and tearing around the grounds in all kinds of sports and activities and games. And then as the evening kicks in, we have Hey Wow come up, and they like accordions and this big brassy exciting band. And then we completely change to have the drum festival, because one of the big beliefs that we have as a festival is that culture isn't just about watching, it's about doing, it's about getting hands-on. So you can bring your drum down and be led in a drum circle, because that's the one thing that's true of cultures all around the world, is everybody's got some sort of drum that they play.
Everyone bangs something for a noise.
Absolutely. It's a log, it's this beautifully crafted djembe, string-tuned goatskin thing, whatever it is, somebody's always got something to produce a rhythm. Then we hop back onto the stage, and it keeps on going with events throughout the evening as well. And last time, because I get pretty demanding when I'm putting together the musical lineup, so last time, like, I want a Inuktitut alt country throat singing reggae band, and they went, sure, we'll just get the jerry cans kind of thing. And then they went on to get Juno Awards and nominations.
3 or 4 one of those we know.
Right, that's the kind of thing. So I wanted Estonian, Swedish folk band with dots above at least one of the vowels, and they're sure, we'll get Franda in. I'm like, no, you can't.
Umlauts are important.
The umlauts are a very important part of the things as they flow through. And we've even got the acrobatics. We've got this wonderful Symbia Zambesi African acrobatics group, and they're jumping through hoops and flipping around the place. And then, why don't we finish out with one of the highest percentage winner of all Junos in history? 5 out of 6 that he's been nominated for is Exo Levi, who's originally from Jamaica, and is putting this reggae on and like each one of these are things that people go to a show to buy tickets to see, and then that's the free lineup. for the evening, and then we start it all again. And then the Saturday, there's the Moncton market's from 9 o'clock, and over at the Dieppe market is going through, and that comes down to the parade. That's the first time we're doing this. So we've got the parade that's starting at City Hall at around 11:30, depending on, it's the first time, so I'm going to say 11:30-ish. As I'm coordinating a large group of ethnocultural associations to march in a straight line kind of thing. So I'll say 11:30-ish to finish at noonish as we come down Downing Street towards Riverfront
There's
Park.
some joke about beating to their own drum.
Absolutely, yes. Yeah. There's lots to be said for that. So then at the noon there'll be the Indigenous ceremony to open the festivities for the day, and all the ethnocultural associations perform. And quite terrifyingly, there are workshops, because coming back to that, get hands-on and get involved. And I say terrifying because theoretically at this point I'm a professional dancer, which is not something that people really want to see, but I am being paid, I'm on the clock, and I'm running Highland dance and belly dancing. I've got far too much belly to be belly dancing. But
it is by definition, if you're paid to do it, that makes you a professional.
This is my theory. And from India, they got these dandiya rasa, these sticks that you twirl and click, and if they get thrown into the advanced class too early, occasionally you hit yourself on the knuckle and it plays up in the cold. But they don't do that with the beginners. And drum workshops from from South America and Africa, and even Atlantic Ballet is there, and they'll be doing ballet dancing, because they're the only place I can think of that's more diverse in their hiring than Magma is. They've got performers from all around the world.
And friends of the show.
And friends of the show, of course.
They are friends of the show.
Friends of the show. And then again, kicks on in the big acts on the main stage in the evening. So you've got the teacher who's coming in from the Central African Republic, and Jadzia, who's originally Algerian, and so she's got her music. And then possibly one of the most insane bands I've ever seen, which is the Gypsy Cumbia Orchestra. Actually, they're friends of the festival. We had them several years ago, and I had to leave it long enough that I could warrant bringing them back. They're like, you want to bring them back again? And if you buy the CD, you go, well, that's kind of interesting music, but when you see it on stage and there's some guy on some other guy's shoulders with a tuba while people are dancing, and the colors and the vibrancy, it is mind-blowing as an experience. And then at some point I sleep.
At somewhere in there, or somewhere after that, I suppose, is when the sleeping happens. When you're done being a professional dancer and all the other awesome fun activities that are there, you'll get to sleep at some point.
Yeah,
but it is an awesome two-day event going July 20th and 21st at Riverfront Park for the majority of the events. Let's unpack some of that a little bit. Why a parade? Because you mentioned the parade is new this year, so why a parade?
One of the things is how much the festival's grown. Originally, it was a little corner of St. George that they sectioned off, and then it was like a corner of Victoria Park, and then it expanded and grew when we took over all of the front of Moncton City Hall, and then we outgrew that. And one of the challenges we found is people were used to going there, and it was like that part of the downtown. So when we moved to Riverfront Park, we kind of needed a Pied Piper thing to get them from there to there. So we thought, hey, why don't we physically bring everybody down with a parade and get all of the different associations to come up, and they can, the Chinese maybe come down with their dragon or their lions or whatever they want to do with that. Everybody's with the flag and dancing and the drums and the singing, and that way we actually get this whole physical lead to get all the way down to Riverfront Park along Downing Street.
So the parade is almost kind of a new beginning of sorts, in that we're going from the old location to the new location.
Exactly that. It's quite literally transitional as we do that. Now, this is very prototype, so if it works bigger, we might convince the city to do more street closures or something exciting. But let's get this one right.
Yeah, this is the kind of thing where it's like, if it goes well, then this is on me. But if it doesn't go well, it just didn't work.
But as I'm looking over my shoulder from studio here, all we need to do is go from there to there, and we'll be okay.
Pretty much.
Yeah,
it sounds simple when you put it in the studio.
In theory.
It's 2 pins on the world map, but if you put it on the world map, it's the same pin. It should be easy.
You can come help and you run it, and we'll see how it works.
We got about a minute and a half. I want to pick your brain just a little bit about how do you book and prepare this kind of an event with so many different cultures here and so many different possibilities? How do you possibly put that together in 2 days?
Well in advance. is the argument. As soon as I wake back up from that sleep, essentially we'll have the debrief meeting, and then we'll start the planning meeting for next year, because all of these bands are touring around the world, and we want to catch that moment in the summer and put them on stage, because when we're attracting people from around the world, not just the performers, but the people we want to stay here and the people we want to retain here, we need this visible signpost that says, this is a place where culture is celebrated, where international culture is welcome, and this is the most flamboyantly obvious way that we can tell the rest of the world that that's what Greater Moncton's all about.
So it's a vibrant show to everyone to say, hey, come on down.
Exactly.
Come on down and check it out. Justin, Ryan, thank you so much for joining us.
An absolute pleasure.